As part of our Commitment 2016 election coverage, WGL is covering all of the races that impact the Susquehanna Valley, from the presidential contest down to the state and local races. It's our commitment to make you a more informed voter. And I'm joined now by the candidates running for the 100th Legislative District in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Now, this district covers Millersville, Laycock Township, and much of southern Lancaster County. And the candidates are, from my left to right, Democratic challenger Dale Hamby, who's a retired U.S. Army major, professor, and public servant from East Drumore Township. Also next to him is Representative Brian Cutler, the Republican incumbent since 2007, currently House Majority Whip as well, and he is from Peach Bottom. Gentlemen, thank you for coming here and doing this debate for us. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Hamby, because you're on the record saying you're dissatisfied with the performance of our state legislator. You want to make a difference, see things change. So more specifically, what changes do you want to make if elected?
I think we really have to take a look at the fiscal health of the Commonwealth. Last year, we went 9 months without a budget. That caused a lot of hardship for individuals. There were people in homeless shelters who were put on the street. I was running an organization that went 7 months without any funding. The school districts had to borrow money, and across the Commonwealth, they spent $50 million on interest. And those kind of things are just not acceptable. And so the way our system works is we hold our legislators accountable when they fail to do their job. And in my opinion, they failed to do their job last year. This year was a little bit better. It's an election year, so they had to get a budget out. But they lacked transparency. The revenue package was done behind closed doors and kicked out with a vote in 2.5 hours. So we really need to fix that, and I think I have the skill set to help fix the problems dealing with the finances in the state.
And Representative Cutler, I go to you because you obviously were in that House seat at the time when all this was happening, so your reaction to that?
Well, look, I obviously share the frustration in terms of not getting a budget right away, but the truth is we did pass 3 budgets, gave them all to the governor. 2 were vetoed, and the third one ultimately became law. And for me, the most frustrating part, and I probably share this with Dale, is the fact that the first budget was $100 million more, the second was $300 million more than what the governor ultimately let become law. And when you go back and look at the voting patterns, and one of the skill sets that I think what we've been able to build over the last 2 years is the fact that the Republicans and the Democrats are effectively working together. We started with strong bipartisan votes on some of the fiscal code and some of the other budget-related bills. We started with 4, and by the time that we got through this budget cycle this year, we had more than 40 Democratic votes. Really, ultimately, it's the governor who has failed to engage thus far, and if you look historically, this is the first time in recent memory, and if you go back even further, I couldn't find an example of where a governor was not involved and signed the first 2 budgets. And in terms of the revenue package, the reality is it was out since December. That's what we balanced the $30.3 billion budget with in terms of the different revenue streams. So we had talked about it before, and the governor, quite frankly, was supportive.
Okay, we want to talk too about issues that you both have a little difference in opinion on. Where do you see yourself different, Dale, from Representative Cutler?
Well, down in the southern end of the county, pipelines are a big issue. And I really believe that we should be controlling where the pipelines go, not the companies coming in. So rather than having a company from Texas telling us where they want to put their pipelines, we should be telling them. We have things like the Turnpike. We have other major thoroughfares. We have other public easements that could be used. And instead, they're running the pipelines through preservation areas, conservation areas. They're putting in people's backyards, and it's just not appropriate. The other thing we don't do in Pennsylvania is we don't tax those. In Ohio, New Jersey, those are taxed as property. And the difference that makes is they spend about $10 million a mile putting that in, and at the average rate of 1.5%, that's a lot of money. Williams Corporation, I talked with them. They have $4 billion in assets, real assets in Pennsylvania. They paid $659,000 in taxes. If they were paying their fair share, it'd be more like $60 million a year. And that might be money that would go directly to municipalities and school districts, not to Harrisburg.
Okay, so your opinion on this, because this is where you differ a little bit with the pipeline issue.
We do. Me personally, I would love to not have it come through our neighborhood. However, I also recognize that the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is the one who oversees this. And in terms of pipelines that cross state lines, they're the one who have the ultimate governance. So it's very difficult for the state to be in a position to tell the federal government because of preemption. They will ultimately overrule us in terms of that. Now, in terms of policy, I agree. I think we should avoid areas with high concentrations of population. We should avoid or use existing right-of-ways, and we should look for those areas. However, when you look at the proposals, ultimately, while they have the final decision, I think that we can have some state policies to encourage the growth where we want. I think that is something that we should look at. In terms of the Marcellus gas in the northern tier, we have a lot of wells that are not accessed currently. So to the extent that we could get access to them and bring gas to all of us, and I think this is probably another major difference, I would like to see some increased local use. I think ultimately that is really what a lot of folks want. I know that businesses could expand, and as a homeowner, I'd love to have access to natural gas, but the current system, the way it's set up, it's very federal heavy, and unfortunately we don't have access to that, and I hope that they consider that if they choose to come here.
It's a big topic with a lot of folks. Also, another big topic is education funding, pension packages, to be specific. Where do you both stand when it comes to pension reform?
Well, pension reform, we have an obligation to the people who have been, who have made decisions, career decisions to work for the state, and we owe them those pensions. It's a $60 billion shortfall, primarily because the not the legislature, but the state government failed to pay its part, and we had a downturn in the economy. But those things, they should have continued to contribute funds to it. With respect to education funding, the new funding formula that came out is an improvement over the old funding formula, because the old funding formula was complete garbage. But the new one only applies to new money, and that's the thing that people need to understand. It's more equitable, but this year it only applied to about $200 million worth of school funding. $9.8 billion was by the old formula, which is totally inequitable. So we're still, and the expectation is that in 30 years it'll work its way out. But for 30 years, education is going to be dictated by zip code, not by the funding. The other thing is the state funding. We spend a lot of money on education. Mm-hmm. We do spend a lot on it. But we're 46th in the country for the amount that the state contributes to education. So most of it's coming from local funds. And when it comes to equity between school districts, we're dead last by a long way.
So you're looking at the state to help fund that. But then where's that money coming from? But we're almost out of time, and I want you to represent to get in on this.
Sure, I've been fully supportive of pension reform. I've even voted to move ourselves, the legislature and current state employees, out of that, because I think that we need to pay the bill. That it's in excess of probably 60 or 65 billion at this point. We need to pay that bill. We need to get to pension reform and fix it going forward. I'd like to see a more private plan for us as employees as an option. And when you look at that, it does have some hurdles because we have some case law that we need to overcome. In terms of education funding, I was fully supportive of increasing the funding piece in the last several budgets. However, it's not just about the money that we're putting into education. We have to talk about what are the outcomes. What are we doing for the students to make them succeed? Mm-hmm. And in terms of some students who might be in school districts, I agree with Dale. They shouldn't be trapped by the zip code. That's why I've been supportive of school choice and the voucher program. I think we should have those options before us. And in terms of the existing money, I would love to see it redistributed in terms of something like Florida did, where they took 3% or 5% per year until you get all of the money into the new formula, because ultimately I think that would be the most fair for our area.
Not an easy fix for sure. So both gentlemen, we're out of time. I thank you so much for coming in here. Of course, thanking both of them. Remember, Election Day is on November 8th, and keep it here because we will have the latest covered for you on News8 at WGL.com. There you can find more information on the other races we're following that you'll only find online.